The guest brings in items from a Beatles memorabilia, including a guitar supposedly signed by the Beatles, hoping to sell it for a hefty sum. The guest claims she got the collection at a charity auction and had it appraised for $25,000 in 2005. She's hoping to get at least.
Well, I got it appraised in 2005, and it went for $25,000.
Okay.
I'm looking at something like that.
Such memorabilia has a potential to be very valuable, but only if the autographs were verified and found to be authentic. Upon close examination, there are several inconsistencies with the signatures. For instance, the guitar itself is a right-handed model, whereas Paul McCartney is famously left-handed. This raises a red flag right away, and it's highly unlikely that McCartney would play a right-handed guitar. Beyond the handedness of the guitar, the signatures themselves were questionable. Comparing them to well-known examples of the Beatles' autographs, several discrepancies were noted in style and form. John Lennon's signature, for example, appears thin and shaky, unlike his usual bold and confident strokes. Ringo Starr's signature also lacks its characteristic flourish, and George Harrison's signature is almost unrecognizable. Forgers often rely on generic imitations or try to copy signatures from photos, which can lead to inaccuracies. In this case, the forger likely didn't have a good understanding of the Beatles' individual signing styles, resulting in a poor imitation that lacked authenticity.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks anyways, guys. Nice to meet you.
You too.
The guest brings in a unique item, a cigar box ukulele signed by Sammy Hagar, the former lead singer of Van Halen. On close examination, it's confirmed that the signature is authentic. However, Sammy Hagar is known for being generous with his autograph request, so the signature itself isn't particularly rare. The estimated value of the autograph is,
if we had ones built like this and this nice, we'd probably put them in the shop at, $500-600. It's not built cheaply, it's sturdy.
considering that while Hagar's signature is recognizable, it's not uncommon to find on memorabilia because he's willing to sign for fans frequently. This means that the autograph itself doesn't significantly increase the value of the ukulele. The ukulele itself is beautiful, with the most impressive craftsmanship, even though it is much sturdier than many other cigar box guitars. The estimated price for the ukulele is,
I'm thinking probably $300.
with this new information, the buyer and seller negotiates on a price keeping in mind the value of the instrument and the signed autograph. Ultimately, they settle on a price of
300?
I'm thinking 300.
I'm thinking 6.
I'd go about 350. I gotta make money on it too.
Oh, about 555.
Nope. I just won't do it. I'll tell you what, I'll do 400.
The guest, hoping for a big payday, brought in a bronze statue depicting Pegasus and Perseus. He claims it is a rare 1880 sculpture by Louise Pickard and priced it at a hefty $6,000. On close examination, some inconsistencies were revealed. There is a casting flaw and an inscription that read "Made in USA," which would not have been present on a genuine piece from the 1880s. The original sculptor is Emil Pickard, whose works were valuable collectibles. However, this particular statue is a recast, likely made in the 1950s. Despite this revelation, the guest remained unconvinced and believes the statue to be real.
I'm glad he didn't want to buy. This is his loss.
The guest sought to sell a box of comic books he inherited from his father. He was hoping to get at least,
for maybe 50 cents to $1 a piece, I should be able to get at least $130 out of all of them.
However, it was a sad realization that the world of comic books isn't what it used to be. While some rare and highly sought-after comics could fetch significant sums, the guest collection likely consisted of more common issues. These comics, coupled with their condition, would likely bring in a lower price than the guest anticipated. Even the presence of X-Men comics, a popular series, wouldn't significantly elevate the value of the collection as they weren't particularly rare editions. Recognizing the reality of the situation, the guest is faced with a choice: understanding the slow-moving market for such comics, He opted to take the deal of,
Yeah, so I'd give you like $70 for them.
I'll take it.
the guest walked in with a Civil War pistol he believed to be a rare Clark & Garrish revolver. He enthusiastically declared it a priceless artifact, practically the holy grail of pistols, and priced it at a staggering
Been several of them. Everyone's sold at a big auction house, and it went for like 60, 70,000, something like that. And I'd be happy with 40,000.
While the man was adamant about the pistol's authenticity, there were some peculiarities that raised red flags. The pistol lacked rifling, a standard feature for firearms of that era, and there was no accompanying paperwork to document its origin. After some meticulous expert examination, some significant details were revealed. The Clark & Garrish revolvers are really rare, with only 11 documented examples existing. However, a crucial detail didn't match. The serial number font didn't match any of the known pistols. This glaring inconsistency cast serious doubt on the pistol's authenticity. The pistol itself could be genuine, a true relic of the Civil War. However, the serial number had likely been tampered with, significantly diminishing its value. Collectors wouldn't risk spending a fortune on a piece with a questionable history. Disappointed, but not belligerent, the guest left with his pistol, unable to secure the hefty sum he had envisioned.
It's going to be too difficult for me to sell. I mean, when someone walks in my shop, I give a guarantee on every single thing I sell, and I can't do it on this. Good luck, dude. That's all I can tell you.
Today's episode is unique, as different guests are brought on the show to present 7 unique pieces. The first guest brought us a first prototype motor, created by Serbian-American inventor, engineer, and futurist Nikola Tesla. The second guest presents us with the rarest Star Wars franchise piece in the world.
This is a one-of-a-kind rocket-firing Boba Fett, and it is something I love more than anything.
What we are presented with by the third guest is a 1936 Zippo lighter prototype, while our fourth guest brought shoes from a Puerto Rican professional baseball player who played 18 seasons in the MLB, Roberto Clemente. Posters are also much sought after, but these Disneyland Haunted Mansion posters brought in by this guest have quite a boo to them. In a portable box, this guest brings out a prototype action figure of an American former #1 world tennis player, Andre Agassi. For the game lovers, this final piece, a battleship prototype, would give them an absolutely ecstatic feeling.
Okay. My brother cheated in this game all the time. He'd be like trying to be real sly and move your battleship around.
No cheating.
Each of these pieces is unique, and among collectors and admirers of their pieces would be highly collectible and worth. This gun is a remarkable piece of firearm history, crafted by the renowned firearm manufacturer Smith & Wesson.
What do we have here?
It's a Smith & Wesson Old Model Army.
Oh, that's cool.
This piece is a Smith & Wesson Model 2 that was very popular during the Civil War.
This model gun was probably the most popular private purchase gun during the Civil War.
This particular model features intricate engravings along the barrel and frame, and finely checkered wood grips. Whether admired for its aesthetic appeal or mechanical excellence, this gun stands as a symbol of superior quality that's worth.
I gotta make a living.
All right, I'll do it.
Okay. All right, I'll meet you right over there.
His first offer, $700, was too cheap. He settled on $775. It was close and it was fair, and I made a little bit of money on it, so.
Bristol Water employees brought a model of a horse for appraisal, hoping to learn more about its value and origins. The model, it turned out, was quite the historical artifact. Originally intended as a gift for Queen Elizabeth II in 1956 during the opening of Shoe Valley Lake, the guest revealed they kept this particular model while presenting another to the Queen. There is a long-standing tradition of royal families' fascination with horses, especially evident in the current Queen's well-known love for equestrianism. This particular sculpture, crafted from bronze and incorporating colorful details, was attributed to Herbert Hasseltine, a renowned sculptor who created works for distinguished patrons around the globe, including Indian princes who commissioned horse portraits. Considering these factors, the worldwide interest in horses, the royal connection to the piece, and the artistic merit of the sculptor, the current market value is
£60,000.
Goodness me. Oh my God. Better put it somewhere a bit safer.
Wonderful, ladies. Thank you.
Thank you.
The guest brought a marble table purchased at a jumble sale by his mother around 65 to 67 years ago. The table was made of black Belgian marble and featured intricate Petri d'Or hard stone inlay. Despite initial thoughts, the table was not Italian or French, but rather English in origin. English marquetry was more complicated and difficult to produce than Italian marquetry. It was likely crafted on the Duke of Devonshire estate, Chatsworth, in the Ashbourne area of Derbyshire. The table's solid marble top featured cut-out holes to accommodate the inlaid stone design. The table dated back to around 1840 or 1850, making it over 170 years old. The appraiser, praising its lovely size, fresh condition, and historical significance, valued it at...
Now, I've got to value this because I think it's a great piece of furniture. Insure it for £5,000.
5,000. Very nice.
The guest brought a brooch that was owned by her great-grandmother from Yorkshire. It was a typical mid-19th century piece of English diamond work. The brooch featured gold on the back and silver on the front, with diamonds set into the silver. It was designed to be worn in candlelight, which is why the silver didn't tarnish much. The brooch was a spectacular display of natural beauty and was very flattering. It was a high Victorian piece with an elegant form. This family heirloom was transformed from a trinket into a treasure when it was appraised at
Form, and perhaps put it down on your insurance policy for £8,000, something like that.
A man walks into a pawn shop and reveals two vintage Cushman Eagle scooters, a 1957 model in particular. Cushman, a company that started in the early 1900s, made farm motors and industrial vehicles.
Well, this here's a 1960 Cushman Eagle. Okay. This one's a 1957 Cushman Eagle.
These scooters became especially popular with students in the 1940s because they were a more affordable and faster way to get around than a bicycle. One of the scooters has a highly modified engine, aftermarket carburetor, and cam. The seller assures Perez that these modifications make the scooter much faster than stock, reaching speeds of 45 to 50 miles per hour. Both scooters were completely restored by the seller, including sandblasting the frame and repainting it. The seller hopes to get at least $3,650 for the red scooter and $4,500 for the blue one. Perez counters that the paint job on the red one needs work and that he would likely have to reduce the resale price. He estimated a fair price for both of these.
I believe at $6,500 you could make a little bit of money. My wife would be happy.
Like a scene from a horror movie, today's pieces are sketches from a pretty gory trial. These sketches are from the Sam Shepard trial. This was a trial where Shepard was accused of killing his wife.
First of all, I love art and I love history, and this was exactly art history. These are all the original drawings that were used to put in the newspapers and magazines and for the television station,
which rocked the American populace in the 20th century. The sketches were made by an underground artist named Burris Jenkins.
Who drew these?
Burris Jenkins Jr.
Burris Jenkins Jr.
Right.
And they depict instances and people that were involved in the trial. These sketches provide a unique insight into one of the most infamous murder trials of the 20th century and would be worth...
I'll give you 43.
4,500. I want 4,500.
4,300.
Memorabilia from two of America's big four sports is presented on the show today. One of the memorabilia is from baseball and belongs to a man who played 22 seasons in the major leagues, Randy Johnson. Johnson was particularly known for his overpowering fastball and devastating slider.
Johnson was a 5-time Cy Young winner.
Absolutely.
The memorabilia presented is a jersey of Johnson's and a baseball he signed. The other memorabilia is from football and belongs to Paul Warner. Warner was an American football quarterback who played in the NFL for 12 seasons.
Yeah.
Last year, he won his 300th, and nobody's going to do 300 wins again.
Yeah, so, I mean, he's quite the pitcher.
This memorabilia is a picture and signed jersey of Warner's, both of which are framed. These pieces of memorabilia are each important and hold high value amongst the followers of each sport, and individually they would be valued at.
I will have to pass on the ball. I sell them for about 175. That's about what I can get out of them.
Okay.
So get that documentation and bring it by the shop, and maybe we can make a deal.
All right.
All right.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks. Nice
Have a
seeing
good
you.
day.
A remarkable treasure unexpectedly landed in the guest hands at a yard sale. In a curious twist of fate, a little old lady emerged from across the street with a suitcase. She unzipped the suitcase to reveal the most exquisite dress. It was love at first sight, and the guest bought it without hesitation. This dress was characteristic of the fashion trends between 1900 and 1906. The dress was reminiscent of the classic Gibson Girl aesthetic. The Gibson Girl look refers to an iconic representation of the ideal American woman during the late 19th century and early 20th century. As a pristine example from that time, the dress's value is approximately.
And this gown would retail for probably around $850 to $1,000.
Really?
A compact storage unit. This storage unit holds many intriguing items. It contains standard and miniature baseball hats, which are of little value. There are also sound speakers present. These speakers were manufactured by Cerwin-Vega. Cerwin-Vega has been renowned for manufacturing professional audio equipment and electronics for vehicles since 1954. These speakers are in terrible condition and damaged.
This one has
blown
sustained
up.
some damage.
This thing is playing a song called.
One notable item in this storage room is the content of this box.
This watch was probably a giveaway from the 60s or something. I can't imagine it being worth too much.
These watches are quite remarkable. They were taken to an expert for insight into their origin and worth. This is a Popeye 1933 watch, the first ever Popeye watch ever made. It is not in working condition and requires repair. This is a Jerry Lewis telethon watch. This watch was one of the many promotional items used to encourage donations to the telethon. It's in good working condition. Finally, this is a 1927 Chevy Radiator watch. This is a fascinating work of art.
In each crystal.
Yeah.
And this is amazing because when you turn it over, you read, "For making quota, used car campaign 1927.
Turning the watch over reveals a lovely inscription. These watches are valued at about.
In working condition, this watch is probably about $300. It would cost you $1.25 to fix it. It's probably worth $100 in the condition it's in.
That's it?
Probably in the neighborhood of $100 to $150.
Really?
Currently, they're asking $1,500.
Really?
You get it every day, $1,500.
I don't really know what it means, but that's what my coach just drilled into me during training.
Hidden gems are often found in the most unexpected places. This vintage recorder was discovered in an unappealing storage unit. It is a Grundig radio recorder made in West Germany in 1963. It's a reel-to-reel, open-reel, 4-track recorder. It has mono, stereo, and recording capabilities. It also has a small indicator known as a magic eye or cat eye. It is still in good working condition.
Kenny's with me, Brandy's with me. We're getting excited. Something is happening. Whoa. Testing. Oh, there we go. Okay.
This beautiful creation is valued
$449.
Yeah, girl. Thank you, brother. Thank you. I feel so.
This storage unit is valued at $175. Its contents are mostly shoes and clothes. The shoes include Adidas high tops, Jordans, Nike Air Force Ones, and Timberlands. All these shoes are in good shape and collectively valued at about $335. Alongside the shoes and clothes in this special item, a box of pipes. Fascinated by the pipes, they are taken to an expert for valuation and authentication.
Ooh, I know what this is. They're called meerschaum pipes. So these are actually made from something that's found in the ocean. I know the German word is Schaum.
This is a meerschaum pipe. However, this is a much later pipe with modern fittings. This is an early Swedenborg pipe. It was made by the Danish company Svendborg Piper. It is a very unique pipe.
Look at this one right here. See how big it is? And it's nice. It's still super nicely done.
They are collectively valued at about
probably $30.
Okay. How about this little one?
Now this one's an antique.
Okay.
$150.
Oh, wow. Okay.
About $500.
Wow. That's funny. I thought that was the cheapest pipe.
30, 150, 500.
680?
I like to say $680. It's so much more.
This unit was bought at $525. Its contents include a table, Sega games, lamps, and a VCR, amongst others. These items are in decent condition, but are of little significance. The main attraction is this box. Its content is every boy's dream.
Oh boy! All right, let's go, baby. This thing is a beauty.
This is similar to a junior bow. It is different from a regular bow, as it is smaller in size. It's a truly beautiful piece. The boys play a game to determine its value.
I'll give you $200 for it. It was worth watching you miss at 10 steps away.
It's because I'm a lover, not a killer.
This is a photo album of United States Army Commander George Smith Patton, Jr. The guest grandfather was a photographer assigned to the general for 3 months during the Second World War. Patton commanded the 7th Army in the Mediterranean theater of World War II and the 3rd Army in France and Germany after the Allied invasion of Normandy in June of 1944. This is a rare photo album, as only 3 of its kind exist. The album contains many photographs of Patton during the Second World War.
He was actually about 300 miles behind enemy lines trying to capture the images from the Battle of the Bulge. Got a Purple Heart for taking shrapnel in the leg.
I have to take my hat off to your grandfather.
Notably, those that bear his signature. As a highly opinionated general, Patton holds great significance in American military history. His photo album is estimated to be worth...
Would you let your family disown you for $600?
Nah, I better not.
All right, well, thanks for bringing it in.
All right, man.
Thanks. Thank you.
This vehicle is a Second World War treasure. It's the Willys MB and the Ford GPW, both formerly called the U.S. Army truck, quarter-ton, 4x4, command reconnaissance, commonly known as the Willys Jeep. The guest acquired the vehicle from a friend who was in the Marines and fully restored it to its original form. The vehicle was manufactured in July of 1944, as indicated on the data plate from the company. The body, top, and frame are all of original design from the production period. However, the engine is not original to the time of production.
Well, I don't have to look that hard. That is a post-war engine, a CJ engine from the 1940s, which is very popular to do with these Jeeps. They're a little bit more reliable, but for a collector purist, they want a World War II engine.
Presented in excellent condition, this relic of the Second World War will have an auction value of...
So what do you think it's worth?
I think you could get $25,000 for it, Rick.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
All right, 20. Sweet. Let's go do some paperwork and I get this thing shipped to Vegas.
Cool. Paintings not only capture moments in time, but also carry intriguing stories of their origins. A guest on the show shared that they grew up in a small Kansas farming community where a Frank McCarthy painting hung above the TV in their in-laws' living room.
Frank McCarthy, as you said, is known for his Western material, but he didn't start doing that. He really started as an illustrator.
The guest admired the painting's beauty and gladly accepted it when their father-in-law offered it to them. However, the details of its original acquisition remained unclear. Titled On the Owl Hoot Trail, the painting intrigued the guest, who wondered if it depicted outlaws returning to their hideout or sheriffs pursuing them. Frank McCarthy, famed for Western art, began as a New York illustrator for James Bond and Louis L'Amour's covers. In 1973, McCarthy sold all 23 paintings in an Arizona exhibition in 20 minutes, leading him to move to Arizona in 1974 to continue painting. The appraiser noted that this particular painting, signed by McCarthy in 1977, reflects the artist's established style during his time in Arizona. While examining the condition of the item, the appraiser said,
I think a conservative auction estimate would be on the order of $20,000 to $40,000.
For this painting? Wow.
As a collector of Indian arrowheads, stamps, and coins, the The guest has a keen eye for history and craftsmanship. However, he brings an impressive collection of stone tools and flint points, gathered over generations by his grandparents, father, and himself.
So you collected these two pieces?
Yeah.
Who collected these pieces?
My dad.
Okay. And this one?
That one was collected by my papa.
The first piece appears unfinished, likely intended as a small thumb-sized scraper for tasks like scraping hides and cleaning materials. Additionally, the piece he discovered is likely an unfinished point, dating back to a time when Native Americans didn't use bows and arrows, but instead used atlatls for hunting.
This is about 1,400 to 2,000 years old, and it was a tool for working wood. It was a stone tool like an adze, they call them.
Furthermore, there's also a piece known as a netting stone, used to crack open acorns and nuts, and the bottom shows a small indentation from being repeatedly struck. The stone was likely not carried around. Instead, they would leave it behind while going elsewhere to hunt or gather, knowing the rock would still be there when they returned. The specific tribe these artifacts belong to remains unknown, but we do have insights into their way of life and where they lived, though their language is still a mystery. The monetary value of these items may not be significant, but the true worth lies in the experience of discovering and preserving them. Altogether, these are valued at
Probably talking about a value of $150.
These fascinating drawer pulls make their way to the show. These items were collectively purchased for $5. These 4 lion's drawer pulls are beautifully made and have a lovely patina. These drawer pulls have a resemblance to bakelite. Bakelite is a material used in the Art Deco period. It was a popular and high-quality material during its time. This is, however, made of celluloid, a less expensive and readily available plastic material. This is a drapery or curtain pullback. This is an applied piece of gilt bronze. The rest is one piece that is cast in bronze. Its registration mark is on the back. These are really beautiful items. They are valued at about,
I would say, between $45 and $55 each.
Oh my gosh.
And if I were to showcase this in my store, I would price that at about $300 each.
You gotta be kidding me.
Not kidding. I think they're wonderful.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it.
Inside this stuffed storage unit is this vintage hand dryer. This dryer was made in the late 1940s to early 1950s. It's on a stand, which makes it unique.
See any dry? Oh, it's a hand dryer. The pedal is right here. Chicago Hardware Foundry.
It's still functional and in very good shape. However, there are some condition issues, such as chips in the material. This doesn't significantly affect the value. In its current state, the dryer is worth
$1,100. $1,100. This hand dryer has blown me away.
a unit with some cool toys. This unit has items ranging from kids' Segways to cars and bikes. There is also a big tire mongoose, a baby stroller, music speakers, and much more. These items are pretty valuable. Of all of the items present, these cigar tins are of special interest. They are taken to an expert to unravel the mystery behind them. This is a Craven tin. It was made by the Carrera Tobacco Company in the late 1800s. They were made to serve a special purpose.
These were established in Spain, Jose Carrera, probably in the 1800s.
This is a George Washington cut plug. It was used in the early 1900s. This can has a fascinating history.
This is a tin can that used to be used in the early 1900s.
This country club tin was initially made to be a lunchbox. These tins are valued at about...
You have $1,650 for the batch.
And so who would ever thought?
A guest brought 2 original sketches and several comic books signed by Stan Lee to a pawn shop. These sketches are claimed to be the only ones ever drawn by Stan Lee, making them unique and potentially valuable. The man obtained these items at the Chicago Comic Con in 1991, where he encountered Stan Lee. After asking for an autograph, he requested a sketch, and Stan Lee drew a simple Spider-Man.
Stan Lee was kind of just sitting over there at a table by himself, and I said, "Would you sign this?" And he signed it.
Explaining he was primarily a writer. He did another sketch the next year, but warned him not to ask again. In addition to the sketches, he brought a signed reproduction of Amazing Fantasy number 15 and another Spider-Man comic. Despite the sketch's rarity and sentimental value, Stan Lee's signature wasn't particularly rare due to his frequent signings. The sketches and signed comics were of nominal worth, so the man decided to keep them due to their significance.
I would give you $500.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like we're not going to be able to make a deal. It just means too much to me personally, so.
All right, man.
I
Take
appreciate
care.
it. Thank you.
This guest is one you'd call a fan of rock stars. He collected these posters from attending rock concerts in San Francisco.
These are rock posters from San Francisco in the 60s.
Whoa, that's definitely different.
These posters date back to the 1960s, during the psychedelic era, characterized by the proliferation of LSD and its influence on the development of psychedelic music and films in the Western world. Among this poster collection is the Grateful Dead concert of 1965, the Rolling Stones concert of 1969, Buffalo Springfield, and many others.
Rolling Stones, 1969. Still love the Rolling Stones. Can't believe they're still alive. What's this right here?
Buffalo Springfield.
This collection consists of 24 posters of psychedelic rock concerts. At an auction, this collection will sell for
21?
50.
21.
21.25.
All right, 21.25.
Be sad to leave him here, but I am moving on with my life, and I'm sure that somebody who really appreciates this is going to pick him up.
In an effort to produce the people's car, meaning Volkswagen in Germany, this automobile came into existence under the Nazi government. This particular Volkswagen model, referred to as the Thing, was made in 1974, and it was named the Thing because there was no other car in the world that looked like it. Quite interesting, this piece was used as a military vehicle in some countries, and it was sort of copied off of some of the World War II vehicles that Volkswagen made for the German army.
The Volkswagen Thing was sort of copied off some of the World War II vehicles that Volkswagen made for the German army.
Also, the motor has been upgraded to a 1915 dual-carb Weber.
Then we upgraded the motor to a 1915 dual-carb Weber.
Considering the changes made to this vehicle, its value has been affected, but at auction would still fetch.
I've wanted one of these for years. I just haven't got around to buying one. But $5,500 is most I'd go.
I'm going to have to turn that down today.
All right, thanks a lot, man.
Cleaned out of his mother's closet, this guest has presented us his old toy car.
A heavy-duty BMC pedal tractor from the 1950s.
Okay, I bet it's hard to plow a field with this thing.
This is a heavy-duty pedal tractor toy manufactured by the British Motor Corporation Limited, a UK-based vehicle manufacturer known for producing many pedal toy cars. This one dates back to the 1950s. This vintage pedal tractor toy evokes fond childhood memories for many, particularly in typical American households, adding to its appeal. Although it needs significant restoration, from its tires to its paint job, the charm of this piece is undeniable.
It can be fixed, though. This thing could really use a paint job.
Despite its current condition, it remains a sought-after collector's item and is expected to sell at auction for...
How much were you looking to get out of it?
$300. Restored in a really good condition, you can get over $1,000 for these. Okay, I guess so.
All right, $60.
All right.
All right. Come on up front, I'll write you up.
Okay.
These artifacts take us back to the founding moments of the United States. The guest has presented us with two extremely rare coins with ties to the Founding Fathers.
Came in earlier with two absolutely amazing pieces of American history.
First is the half-dime American silver coin, minted around 1792. With a face value of 5 cents, it was circulated during the tenure of George Washington. Widely considered the first United States coinage under the authority of the Coinage Act of 1792, this coin is of great historical value, estimated at...
The 1792 half dismy, with the right buyer, would probably bring $500,000 to $600,000.
Second is the Libertas Americana silver medallion. This coin was made to commemorate the American Revolution.
The Libertas Americana. This is one of my favorite coins because it's so beautiful. This is a silver example. So they made these in copper, silver, and they actually made a couple gold, but those were lost in the French Revolution.
And was designed in part by one of the founding fathers of the United States, Benjamin Franklin. Uber rare and presented in mint condition, its auction value is estimated to be...
You couldn't do 160.
I will go 150. I think it's more than a fair price.
It's a deal.
Sweet. I will meet you right over there, and we will do some paperwork. You take that one.
I'll take this one.
I'll take this one.
We have here a door, and on it is a whimsical painting of dreamlike quality, showing a performer. This painting was made in the 1960s by Jim Warren, an American painter famous for his colorful, surrealistic paintings and illustrations. The passionate performer featured on the painting is Jim Morrison, an American singer, songwriter, and poet, regarded by music critics and fans as one of the most influential frontmen in rock history. On the item, we could see the depiction of Morrison's personality as a performer and as a poet.
You know, I wish it were Jim Morrison's bedroom door, because who knows what was going on behind that door? Was he, composing poetry? Was he having wild parties? Was he coming up with some of those seminal Doors lyrics?
The painting is detailed and in great condition, but it has no direct ties to Morrison, therefore placing this surreal painting of an energetic music icon at an auction value of...
It'll have collectability. I mean, I could see, to the right collector, this being a $40,000, $50,000 piece.
I'll give you 10 grand.
Yeah, I just don't think that I could do that.
Change your mind? Give me a call, man.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
The guest brought a small mortar used for grinding herbs and spices. It had been passed down through the family, reaching the guest's father about 50 years ago. The appraiser highlighted its historical importance. Unusually, it was inscribed with John Broke, a rare feature for mortars, which are typically plain. This indicated that John Broke was the craftsman.
And we have the name John Broke. Yes. So he presumably cast this little vessel.
The mortar also had the date 1588 engraved on the back. The initials IB for John Broke were visible on the front, along with the shield containing 3 wheat sheaves. However, the origin of the shield was unidentified. The piece was admired for its beautiful raised lettering and patina, developed over centuries. Made of bronze and with some lead, tin, and zinc, it had a soft color. Though it looked ordinary, it was a rare Elizabethan item from the late 16th century. While similar mortars generally sell for around £50, this one was valued at...
It's a good one. It's worth £10,000. Joking.
These jade tablets and seal, once owned by the guest's great-great-grandmother, are believed to date back to the late 19th century. The jade plaques are likely from a jade-paged book and are intricately incised with official script suggesting their use in a commemorative capacity. The seal, adorned with a double dragon, is a symbol of imperial authority and commonly found on imperial and court seals. The jade is mottled green, consistent with the materials used in court artifacts. Although initially thought to be from the 18th century, the plaques are dated to the first year of the Zhengzhou era, 1875. The jade book pages are valued at...
Together as a associated pair, they would carry an auction estimate of 20 to 30,000.
Okay.
The seal, initially appraised at $1,400, may have a current auction estimate ranging from...
Conservatively, at auction, it would carry an auction estimate of 30 to 50,000.
Okay. All right.
If confirmed as a late Zhengzhou piece, its value could raise significantly, potentially reaching...
If there can be a shared consensus within the industry, among peers, that it is 1875 to the end of Guangzhou reign, that it may be a multiple of 10.
The guest shared the story of his father, Samuel Batchelor, a glassmaker. The pieces highlighted Samuel's journey from his apprenticeship at Royal Briley Crystal to his later work. The first piece was a prototype crystal item made by Royal Briley Crystal. When the factory closed during World War II, Samuel took the prototype home, and it became a cherished part of his work. The second piece was known as intaglio, showcasing Samuel's skill in glass engraving. This technique involved carving or etching into the surface, creating a recessed pattern. The final piece was a commemorative vase given to Samuel for his 40 years of service. They discussed the craft, which involved extensive precision and working in a challenging environment.
And the skills is fabulous. I mean, it doesn't take much to work out that is a beautiful thing, isn't it? I mean, it really is.
Despite the historical and technical significance of the work, its material value was considered low. However, they acknowledged the importance of Samuel's contribution to the craft. Collecting sometimes becomes a labor of love, spanning years and generations. This 6-foot Louisville slugger bat, acquired in the 1980s, now holds 80 signatures, 78 from Baseball Hall of Famers. The guest collected each autograph personally. Among the signatures is that of Ted Williams, who, despite the odds, agreed to sign the oversized bat. The bat, with its unique size and the sheer number of Hall of Fame signatures, stands out as a remarkable piece. The guest also has photographs documenting the players signing the bat, adding to its authenticity.
Oh, I got photographs for pretty much every one of the players at some point, signing it.
And here's the photo of Willie Mays.
Right.
Over the years, the cost of collecting these autographs varied, but the effort has paid off.
Probably just because the sheer size of the bat as well. I don't think I've seen 78 Hall of Fame signatures on a bat that displays as well as this.
Right.
At auction, this bat, a testament to dedication and passion, could sell for between...
At auction, I'd expect it to sell for at least $4,000 to $6,000.
Okay.
Sometimes, a simple figure can hold centuries of history. This Chinese gilt bronze Buddha, inherited from the guest grandmother, dates back to the 17th century.
Well, it's an Asian figure that was my grandmother's. She acquired it probably sometime in the late 1800s, early 1900s.
It represents the Bodhisattva of compassion, with its multitude of arms symbolizing the many ways to guide humanity. The Buddha's gilding is in remarkable condition, and its craftsmanship is evident in the detailed casting and strong features.
Wonderful casting, the quality is wonderful, the eyes are strong, the nose is strong, the polychrome to the mouth is still present.
Originally, it would have been raised on a lotus base, though this piece is missing that part. Despite minor wear and the need for some cleaning, it remains a high-quality bronze. The intricate work on the jeweled chest and lotus banding on the robe adds to its value. In a retail setting, testament to its historical and artistic significance, this Buddha could fetch around...
Speaking to value in a retail setting, this would be $40,000.
Wow. Had no idea. Absolutely no idea.
Family heirlooms carry not just memories, but also a piece of history. This beautiful French clock, passed down from the guest grandfather to her mother, dates back to 1890 to 1910. The clock's ornate design features Louis XV style with a Rococo motif and intricate applied goldwork.
I want to point out this beautiful goldwork that's on the side here. This is all applied goldwork that was done after the blue was added.
Its centerpiece artwork, painstakingly detailed, even bears the artist's signature, a rare feature.
But the main feature to this clock is the artwork in the very center.
An 8-day clock, it has an enamel dial and original hands. The guest wisely plans to keep and pass it on to her daughter, continuing its legacy. As a timeless piece, it will continue to tick through generations. This family treasure, possibly once part of a 3-piece set, is now valued at between...
I would estimate the value of a clock like this to be retail between $1,200 and $1,500.
Nice!
The guest bought this vase about 2 to 3 years ago for $125, and there was no hallmark on the silver, so it was difficult to tell where it was from. These kinds of vases were often unmarked, but it's a Let's Titania vase with silver overlay, an Austrian company. Titania referred to the decoration or type of glass called a paperweight technique. Letts produced many glasses, and this glass is cased with the coloration known as orange opal with green. However, the market for this item has been volatile over the years. In the 1980s, it sold for $4,000 to $5,000, and later went down to about $1,500. Recently, the price has begun to rise, and the vases with the silver overlay are more desirable. Therefore, at an auction, this vase with silver overlay would be worth.
A piece like this today, I think, could easily sell for about $5,000. Wow.
Household items that were transformed into functional works of art in the 20th century are out for appraisal. Here's one of them, a punch bowl designed by Russell Wright in 1935. It's made to look like the sun, with the planets revolving around it. Also, it looks like Saturn and its ring are made into a functional object. Punch cups sit on the ring and can be taken off to serve, and it's made with aluminum and a traditional kind of walnut. A number of these bowls were made, but few have survived due to frequent use. One in poor condition sold for $2,000 at auction. However, this one in pristine condition would bring as much as.
One recently in not very good condition at auction brought a $2,000.
Here is a radio that was designed by Norman Bell Geddes for appraisal. Norman Bell Geddes was a prominent American designer in the 1930s. This radio was made out of a plastic called Catalin, which is a successor of Bakelite. They came in different colors, some solid colors, and others were multicolors, like this one. Moreover, the value of these kinds of radios hinged on the color and condition. The multicolored radios were worth more than the ones in solid colors. Hence, at auction, this radio, that should bring $600 to $800, would be worth.
They can be $600 or $800. Some at auction have brought as much as $5,000 and $6,000.